Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's call. Tonight is a very, very special evening. And tonight we've got Sandy Ashfield dialing in from KwaZulu-Natal. And she's going to be sharing her 13-month journey on how she got to presidential director, which is the second highest rank in LifeWave in only 13 months. We had the honor and privilege to meet right in the beginning. That was January last year, 2024. You came to a presentation in Bryanston, and afterwards you were just like, oh my word, this is like an absolute no-brainer. I want to get involved like immediately. And that day, Sandy signed up. And guys, I think it was 2 weeks after Sandy signed up, she was already presenting. He saw the presentation and said, wow, this is really easy. Anybody can do this. Can I start presenting already? And I'm like, of course we can. And gave Sandy a couple of tips. And yes, Sandy just took this with both hands, absolutely ran with it. And what's so beautiful about what Sandy does and part of her journey is Sandy asks a lot of questions. It says, what do I need to do to get to X, Y, and Z? And Sandy follows the recipe and she doesn't go off course and doesn't reinvent the wheel. And that's something that is so important. Sandy will touch on it because of what she's done in her life and understands the importance of duplication. And like my late father used to say, if it's not broken, don't fix it. So there's a system to follow. Don't recreate the wheel. And that's exactly what Sandy has been doing the last 13 months. And I just want to say congratulations. Well done, Sandy. We are so super duper proud of you. And as you know, this is just the beginning. And I want to say thank you for everything you do for everybody from your heart for this for this beautiful community. So, without any further ado, handing over to the star of the evening, Sandy Ashfield.
Thank you so, so much, Chris. Gosh, it's such a privilege to have the opportunity to talk a little bit about the journey, because I honestly feel as if it's been the greatest privilege to learn from you and Lucinda as the leaders of our team. You've paved the way for us, Chris. You've shown us everything that we need to do, and you've laid it out. So it's really just been a case of following the steps. And it's the first time I've ever been on a Zoom without a deck of slides to present from. So I'm just giving this from the heart tonight, actually. But it really is what I want to say to everyone on this call. It really is far closer than you think to get to presidential director. When I started with LifeWave, it felt like a long road that had to be traveled and lots of things to learn and to do, but it's far, far closer than you think. I remember being deeply inspired by a video from Alexandra from Romania, where she shared her journey to senior presidential director. And I remembered her saying that she had started on a cruise ship, and she came from Romania, which was a country where there was very little English spoken. There was absolutely no knowledge of LifeWave in that country. And it took her a year to reach manager status, and I think 5 years to reach SPD. And I thought, I'm sure that I can follow in her steps. And I was just so inspired by her journey. But she was against all of those odds and she made it happen. She didn't turn back. She kept going. She was consistent and she made her dream come true. So the incredible resources of information and testimonies and trainings that are made available to us are just such an encouragement for somebody new starting out like I was. I basically joined LifeWave on the 15th of January last year. And it's been a 14-month joy journey. I call it that because it's been full of discovery, full of learning, and I can't wait to share a little bit about it with all of you tonight. But I just want to start by expressing my heart absolutely bursting with gratitude. Gratitude for everything that this journey has held. And it is actually the beautiful Robin Foote who introduced me to LifeWave. She's on the call with us this evening. And I just want to give a huge hug and all my love to you, Robin, for extending this most amazing opportunity to me and for introducing me to a life-changing piece of technology. So it was the start of my journey with LifeWave through a conversation with Robin. And it actually has subsequently been a journey of learning, of self-discovery, of overcoming fears, of meeting the most extraordinary people. And I could never have imagined what the year was going to hold at the start of January 2024. So I've scribbled down a couple of notes just to keep me on track. But what I want to say is that reaching a milestone like Presidential Director is a collective team effort. It is absolutely impossible to do this on your own. It is made possible through a team all working together, everybody doing their little part. And it wouldn't be possible without every single person in the team contributing their love to what it is that we're doing, which is sharing LifeWave with the world in the most profound way and changing lives everywhere that we go. I hadn't expected it to be such an emotional journey, but when I started to see the results that people were obtaining with this technology, I realized that we had something very, very special in our hands. And there were some times when I came home and just burst into tears because of the incredible testimonies that I'd seen and heard at my presentations, and just the joy of being able to change people's lives with a wearable skin patch that can do extraordinary things. So my deepest gratitude to David Schmidt and to LifeWave and to everyone in our team for this shared journey, because it is only made possible by the team working together. I think most of you all know that I was introduced to LifeWave through a road running injury. And when I experienced the patch on my body, I had a torn Achilles tendon and I had rapid pain relief. It was quite extraordinary because I had pain relief overnight, the first night that I wore the patch, which is not the case for everyone. And I had rapid healing over the next week, allowing me pretty much to get back to road running pain-free after 10 months of physiotherapy, biokinetics treatment, and even surgery to my Achilles. So I was completely blown away by what the product could do, and it gave me absolute conviction in the science of the technology. When I continued to wear the patches and I started to experience improved sleep, improved skin, improved energy, improved vitality, less joint pain, in fact, no joint pain. I never thought I'd be in my almost mid-50s with no joint pain when I wake up in the mornings, but that has been the reality with the patches. Improved mental clarity, the list just goes on. And many of you know that sharing the technology with my own family, my parents who are in their 80s, have also experienced improved joint pain, improved mental clarity, improved energy and vitality on every level. And my sister, who had a stroke in 2020, is now off all medication. She's off all her antidepressants, blood thinners, pain medication, and she is on one X39 patch a day. She was paralyzed on the left of her body in 2020, and X39 is all that she is wearing, and she is able to drive a car, she's able to move about, and she's able to live her life in a way that she never was before we were introduced to LifeWave. So it's really been an extraordinary journey for me and for my family, and I'm super grateful for the confidence and conviction that that journey has given me in LifeWave as a product and in the X39 as a product, because what we have in our hands is truly a life-changing, patent-protected product with no competition and the opportunity to share it with practically every country in the world. So David Schmidt has chosen this amazing method of distribution to ensure that the product is coming to the market competitively priced, and that it's not sitting on a shelf in mainstream retail unaffordable to most people. So we've got an extraordinary opportunity to join him in this quest to bring this life-changing technology to the world. As LifeWave brand partners, I feel that we're actually not just changing people's lives in a physical way, because the conversations that are being had around people's health and their well-being are often very intimate conversations. And I find myself over the telephone or in person often in tears with the prospect, just hearing about what they've been through, their journey with their health, sometimes their journey with their finances, or even their journey in their emotional state. And I consider it a huge privilege to be able to sit with somebody and listen to what it is that they're telling us, and to be able to have something to offer them that we know can change their lives on every level, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and financially. So this is a very, very unexpected change in my life, because I've been in the skincare industry for 24 years. Those of you who know me will know that I started 24 years ago. I started my own company in 1998 with a small team of 5 therapists, and we worked together. I'm a qualified esthetician myself. I love actually doing treatments, and as much as what I loved running the business, I also loved being in the treatment room and administering therapies to people. That's always been a great joy of mine. And I worked alongside my 5 therapists, and over the 24 years, that team grew to over 90 therapists in 3 different locations. So we joined a franchise. We had 3 franchise stores across the 3 locations, and it was an absolute joy journey. I loved every minute of it, especially seeing the growth of our team members and the growth of our clientele as a result of the service that we were providing. So you can imagine my complete surprise when I was approached by a gentleman who was wanting to buy multiple stores within the franchise brand. And he wanted to have a look at my stores, and after a very thorough due diligence, he made me an offer to purchase all 3 stores in one go. It was my baby that I'd been working to build over 20 years. I had poured heart and soul into it, and it was absolutely flying, and it was almost like letting it go at the time when it was flourishing the most. But it was, for me, I think perhaps part of my journey and part of what needed to happen. Because if I had been in my business, I know that I would have been far too busy to have been able to take up this opportunity in LifeWave. And so I think there's sometimes a reason for the way in which things turn out. And once I sold my business, I had time to throw myself into my road running, and I did a lot of marathon running and ultra distance marathon running. And when I tore my Achilles tendon, I had no idea that that was going to be what led me into my next business venture. But when Robin introduced me to LifeWave through the Achilles injury, the timing was truly serendipitous, I think. because I was actually able to experience that rapid pain relief and healing. And my excitement was, I just couldn't contain it. I couldn't wait to tell people literally what I had experienced. I literally phoned up almost everyone I knew and I said, guys, you've got to come around to my house because I need to tell you about something. And I remember phoning Chris up. I think I was only a week in. And I said, Chris, would you be able to come around to our house in Bryanston and do a presentation? And Chris said, sure, of course I can. How many people do you think you're going to have? And I said, I don't know, but I've invited a whole lot of people. And I remember putting all the chairs in our house into one room so that everybody could sit in the room together. And Chris presented beautifully. And needless to say, in that first week, I was completely surprised. I'd signed up as a premium member myself because I wanted to have patches available for our family and for me to use and for me to be able to introduce to others. And in that very first 2 weeks, we signed up 7 premiums and we introduced many other advanced and core members who at that stage were silver and gold and bronze, etc. But for not a minute was I thinking about the compensation plan or even understanding the compensation plan. I was beyond excited about the product that I had found and I couldn't wait to share it with others. So it was almost surprising to me to go very quickly through the ranks of manager and then director within a week or 2 of joining LifeWave. But what I saw was actually a product that the world needed. This is a product that actually meets a need in the realm of health and lifestyle. And it married very nicely with something that I happen to love. I'm very passionate about health and vitality and well-being. And so there was a wonderful synergy between a product that the world needs and something that I'm particularly passionate about. And tied to that was an economic engine that didn't rely on a physical shop. It didn't rely on being open 7 days a week with a staff of 90 people or product on the shelf. LifeWave was taking care of all of that. And that's why I started calling this a business in a box. I'd never experienced anything like that. Payment is made directly to LifeWave. The product is couriered directly to the door of the person who's making the purchase. And LifeWave gives a 30-day money-back guarantee to back the product. So there's absolutely zero risk to brand partners in entering into LifeWave. A very, very small capital investment compared to any other business model that I'd been exposed to. And the ability to actually have an international dollar-based income stream from anywhere in the world. So what LifeWave provides us with is a ready-to-go enrollment site, and LifeWave takes care of all of the details for us. That to me, from a business perspective, was quite extraordinary. No shop fitting, no vehicles, no branding, no marketing, everything was taken care of for you. So, when Chris became the first SPD in LifeWave in South Africa, it really showed me that this is possible. It showed all of us that this is actually something that we in South Africa can do. This is a viable business opportunity. And I think, Chris, when you became SPD, it was like, as you say, when the 4-minute mile was broken. Because the moment that the 4-minute mile was broken, suddenly other athletes were able to run a sub 4-minute mile. It was never possible before that. And it was all because after they saw that the sub 4-minute mile had been run, they had a belief system that it was possible. So the word believe is actually what I think is the most important thing in LifeWave for all of us, is that the journey starts with, and Chris expresses this so well, and it's really resonated with me, the journey starts with your belief in the product. which for me was overnight. It extends to your belief in LifeWave as a company and LifeWave's integrity and its remarkable growth trajectory that we've seen. And it also extends to your belief in the industry, because this specifically chosen vehicle is the best way for LifeWave products to come to market cost effectively. So it has very deliberately been selected as the vehicle. But I think most importantly, and this is something that has resonated with me from the beginning, is belief in yourself. You have got everything that you need to be successful. You just need to be believing that you have everything that you need. And I want to tell you why. Because in this business, you don't have to be an expert by any measure. You don't have to have any medical knowledge. You don't have to have any experience in networking, because I don't. I have never even known about the networking industry. I have never known anything about stem cells before I was introduced to this technology. So I am no expert by any measure. You simply have to try the product and then share it with others. It is that simple. So as your organization grows, you simply help others to share it with other people. That is the business model. So during the course of last year, I had the privilege of having a chance to speak at our 3 conventions. We had 3 conventions during the course of last year, and Chris asked me to speak at each of them. And at the very first conference, I spoke about The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Dr. Stephen Covey, a remarkable book. And if habits are so powerful, then why aren't we more intentional about those habits? Because we are what we repeatedly do. Aristotle said that. So if we are what we repeatedly do, everything that we want to accomplish can be accomplished by simply making a habit of it. So the 3 habits, the very first 3 habits in the book, are simply to be proactive, to begin with the end in mind, and to put first things first. So what I was talking about from the stage in that very first presentation is that if we are going to be proactive and begin with the end in mind, we have to start by setting our intentions. What is it that we want to achieve in LifeWave? And that starts with what your why is. Why is it that you are on this journey? What do you want to achieve? And set your intentions clearly. Begin with that end in mind. The second conference that I spoke at, I spoke about Who Moved My Cheese, which is a wonderful book by Spencer Johnson. And for me, the big lesson in that little book is actually about, in this business, working with the people who want to work with you, because that is a book about change, adapting to change. And if we are constantly going back to where old cheese used to be and not moving with the cheese and looking to where the cheese is now, we actually waste an awful lot of time. We waste an awful lot of time trying to convince somebody about LifeWave who has said that they're not wanting to purchase the product. Let's move on to the new cheese, so to speak, and say, where is there an opportunity for me to share this? Let me not keep going back to old places or old habits. Let's move with the change. If we have relocated to a new town or a new city, we need to not worry so much about contacting everyone in our old city. We've got new cheese where we are. Let's start moving with that. So adapting quickly to change helps us to land on our feet and make a success where we are. And the third conference that I spoke at, I gave a little talk called Meet Your Lion. And that talk was all about facing your fears. And it was probably the hardest talk that I've had to do, because I don't think anybody knows that one of my very, very biggest fears is actually speaking in front of other people. Now, you might not know this, but if you check on ChatGPT, you can look this up. What is people's number one fear on ChatGPT? It says the most common fear is talking to strangers and speaking in front of people. Unbelievable that is people's biggest fear. And it certainly was one of mine. My husband knows that before I'm going to have a presentation or anything, I just need to calm down and just give myself a little pep talk. But what has helped me more than anything in preparations for doing a presentation is always to remind myself that I'm coming from a place of love. I'm coming to share something that I know can change people's lives. I'm not there to convince them. I'm just there to share the information with them. So talking to strangers and speaking in front of people is the number one fear. There's even a name for it. It's called glossophobia. And it is actually the root of our social anxiety and fear of judgment. But the other top fears, besides the fear of heights, are fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. And I can assure you guys that we're going to experience all of these fears in LifeWave as a brand partner, right? We're going to have all of those fears because I most certainly did. But here's the good news, and that is that because most people have those fears, it means that most people are not prepared to actually do what we are doing. Therefore, this is a place of tremendous opportunity, is stepping into the fear. All that we need to do is to be willing to actually talk to people. So the good news is that when we feel the fear, it's not actually a sign of weakness, it's a sign of growth. And it was certainly a big growth curve for me. I remember when I did my first presentation and I had to stand kind of trembling a little bit in my tackies, but just putting it out there and knowing that I was going to make a couple of mistakes and knowing that it wasn't all going to be perfect. But it is actually overcoming fear through exposure. So exposing yourself to the thing that you fear the most is a very quick way to overcome it. Because the more that you expose yourself to it, the more you actually become tolerant of the fear and the better you become at it. So practice, 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 because in this business, all that we need to do is talk to people. Talk to people that you know, talk to strangers, talk to one person one-on-one, or talk to small groups of people. It can be a whole combination of those things. But if we are not talking to people, we aren't able to do what we need to do in LifeWave. So it's worth practicing it over and over again. So I do use that little technique of going into a presentation with love first for the audience. I'm not expecting anything from them. I'm not trying to sell anything to them. I'm simply telling them about something that has changed my life and giving them an opportunity to consider it. And the thing is that you don't need to be, in a specific place to do that. You'll be surprised at the places where I have recruited new brand partners. In the sauna at the gym, on the treadmill at the gym, I've had conversations. It might be at the checkout line at the Pick and Pay. It might actually be when you're going through the airport, when you have to take your tackies off and your belt off and put it all in those goodies. And as I was going through the checkout line, I got chatting to a gentleman who had a child with special needs, and he asked me about the patch. And I said, this is an amazing patch for children with autism. We've had a wonderful testimony from Olga and Javi about Alex. I shared this with him, and he enrolled immediately, right then and there in the airport. So you don't need to be somewhere specific. You don't have to have a presentation set up. Just have a conversation where you are. So there are two things that we need to do. Number one is set our intentions. Coming into this business, what is your intention? What is it that you're wanting to achieve here? Do you want to be an SPD in 2 years or in 3 years or in 5 years? It all starts with your why. Why are you here and what do you want to achieve? And the second thing is just get down and do the work, right? Just do the work. So if you don't do the work, then you're just a dreamer. That's it. Because this doesn't happen without work. Chris always says this is not net sit marketing, right? This is net work marketing. So in doing the work, I'll just share what some of my key takeaways have been from my journey. First of all is put yourself in the driving seat. Put yourself in the driving seat of the vehicle. Don't waste time on anything unless this is an IPA. Now, I've had this drummed into me from everybody. We've heard this from Sandy Feast, we've heard this from Javi, we've heard this from Chris. What is an IPA? It's an income producing activity. I've had many brand partners who have done amazing things. They've even rewritten the toolbox, to be honest. They've changed, recreated all kinds of things and created wonderful tools for themselves to use. You don't need to do that, guys. It's all done for you. With the toolbox and the compensation plan, you have got absolutely everything that you need. You don't need to redo it or try and simplify it or anything like that. Simply send that resource to your new enrollments and put them into one of the groups, and then they have everything at their disposal that they possibly need. So put yourself into the driving seat on what you're spending your time on. If this is not an income producing activity, then can you afford to be doing it? And yes, sometimes there are times where I'm going to be asked to have a conversation or have a cup of tea. We get super busy once there are hundreds and then thousands of people in our network. And my most challenging thing at the moment is time. Those in my organization know that it is not sometimes days for me to get back to my messages. Sometimes it is even weeks for me to get back to my messages, simply because of the volume of messages. If I sat down on the couch and I just did messages for the entire day, I would go from 8 in the morning to 12 o'clock at night and I still wouldn't finish the messages. Whilst I'm on this Zoom with you now, there are 794 unread messages on my phone, guys. So it is not, and a lot of that is in the groups. And it's also because people want to join me to groups, which I'm happy to be part of, but I cannot possibly keep up with all the correspondence on the groups. So please don't ever take it personally if I am not responding to your message straight away. It's simply because there's a lot of messages that are coming to me. So one thing that I'm not very good at is delegating. I'm trying to get better at that, and duplication. So the thing is that once your organization grows, it's not possible for you to be doing helping everybody with their e-wallet, or helping everybody with their enrollments, or helping everybody with their with their orders. Each person has got to be responsible for teaching themselves. Now, nobody helped me. I got into the toolbox and I figured it out, and I made a couple of mistakes. Mistakes are not a problem. Make a lot of mistakes. You can make as many mistakes as you like. I've only got one rule, actually, and that is always make new mistakes. Don't make the same mistakes again and again, but make mistakes. You can always fix it, but the mistakes are the way to learn. So teach yourself. The resources are there, and more I'm pointing people back to the toolbox and pointing people back to the compensation plan. Messages coming through like, how do I become manager? It's all explained step by step in that compensation plan. So you don't need to actually be asking any questions or even answering them. simply refer back to those amazing resources from Chris and Lucinda. My second nugget is eat that frog. Eat that frog means do the hardest thing first, right? When you get up in the morning, make the phone call that you don't want to make. Do the thing that you know is going to be the hardest for you, because if you get that out the way, you actually feel better about yourself for the day. You know you've done the toughest thing, and you are, you're able to focus on the rest. So crush your fears early in the day, make the most difficult phone calls, and that sets you up for success. Number 3 is give up on perfectionism. Just stop worrying about trying to get it perfect, guys. Just stand up there and give your presentation. I remember how much guidance I received from Sandy Feast and from Jan Mannix and from Lucinda and Chris in the beginning. You guys were incredible when I was presenting in Bryanston with absolutely no experience whatsoever. And my niece Paigey too taught me everything I needed to know about, the way that the binary works and all that sort of thing. So it was with lots of kindness and guidance in TLC that I learned, but I had to get over perfectionism and just get into doing it, and do it scared and do it messy, but just do it, because perfectionism often just puts the brakes on and stops us before we even start. The fourth thing is don't prejudge anyone. The most unlikely prospects can often turn out to be your best brand partners in your team. So don't ever assume that because somebody is very young or very old or, not a very social person or a very social person, don't worry about that. Don't prejudge people, because very often it's the very best brand ambassadors who are the ones who you least expect. What I would encourage you to do is just to follow up with people, follow up, because so often you've introduced the idea of LifeWave to someone and they're busy thinking about it, but you never contact them again. And then, you sort of contact them after 2 weeks and they say, yes, actually, I was thinking about it and I wanted to get some of those patches. So follow up. And the next thing, number 5, and I'm nearly at the end, number 5 for me is close the deal. Stop talking and ask a question. So are we going to choose the advanced or the premium? So are we going to choose Alavida or Energy Enhancer? Just stop talking and close the deal, because sometimes we are so busy trying to talk about the product and we're talking that this person is actually ready to make their purchase and do their enrollment. So I find that a good idea is just to stop talking and just ask one question. Would you like to enroll today? And if so, which of the enrollment kits are we going to choose for you? And just get the process underway, because sometimes it's just that little nudge that is required for someone. This is something unknown to people. There's a lot of uncertainty sometimes around that purchase. And so just asking the question, if you say advanced or premium, they'll say, well, let me just go with the core. And then you can choose your patches and you're in the process. Number 6 is so basic, and it's just don't reinvent the wheel. We've already got the resources that we need. So simply pointing everyone to those resources are the easiest way to go about it. So as your team grows, you first obviously going to become binary qualified. You've enrolled your 2 people. Once you've enrolled your 4 people, you've become a manager and you've unlocked your matching bonuses. And then you identify your potential managers in the team, and you help your managers to enroll 4 people each so that they become director. And then it just runs, because before you know it, you'll be senior director with 2 directors in your team, and the rest is all about volume. You don't need to worry about signing up more brand partners. In fact, it's been a long time since I enrolled a new brand partner personally. I've dedicated my time over the last few months to helping my team and my brand partners to enroll their new team members. So it's all about volume, which is generated simply by orders and enrollments all the way to senior presidential director. So I'm just telling you that because what might seem unachievable in your mind is very, very achievable. And it's something that if we just follow the steps, it actually, it happens organically. What is important to note is that you've already done all the heavy lifting by the time you become manager. Manager is the hardest rank and the most important rank to reach because it means you've overcome your challenges with confidence, talking about the product. You've managed to onboard 4 people. You've now got a team that's running. So by the time you reach manager, you've actually done the hardest part. It really is almost like the worst wind resistance is up to manager, and after that it's free flowing. So have fun. You're your own boss in this. Take yourself where there is joy. Take yourself where there is opportunity, and change people's lives as you go. Have absolute conviction in the product. Place yourself confidently in front of audiences, not knowing that you have all the answers, simply knowing that you have the conviction of this amazing product. LifeWave takes care of all of the science and the guarantees. We simply need to point people back to the scientific studies and David Schmidt himself doing those wonderful presentations. I haven't got it right by any measure. As I said, I'm absolutely hopeless at delegating, and I'm hopeless at duplication. Far too much of a control freak. I want to do it all myself. I want to know that it's all done as I wanted to, but I'm working on that. I'm trying to get better because there's absolutely no way that I'm going to be able to help thousands of people with their orders or their enrollments or their things. At some point, we all just have to take responsibility for our own role in the business. So yeah, as I say, there are times when I don't get to all my messages and so on, and I promise that I'm working on that and looking to get much better to that at that. And so I know I've spoken a long time, but I just want to close by extending a huge thank you to every single person in my team and to every single person in the 333 team, because this is our wider family. This is our place where we all plug in to learn. We all plug in for support. We are able to share resources, and we are able to encourage one another. I know that all that I've tried to do is to keep up with the passion and energy of my team. I have been humbled and completely floored by your commitment to sharing LifeWave with the world. I've been racing to keep up with you guys because you are just unbelievably passionate about what we're doing as a team. And so I want to say thank you, because this milestone would not be possible without every single member in the team. I want to say thank you to our extraordinary leadership. I have learned everything that I need to know from the ground up, from Chris and Lucinda, from Sandy Feast, from Javi and Olga, from George, and from members in my team who have just so generously shown me shortcuts and what they're able to do better than I am. And so it's a very it's just a wonderful synergy when we're all able to play to our strengths. I might be able to overcome my fears and do the odd presentation, but you know, give me another task to do and I'm flawed and I need to hand it over to somebody else, like my IT, which I always delegate to anybody else who's with me who can do something on the computer. So really what I want to say is that the joy of this is the shared journey, all of us reaching SPD together, all of us growing and learning and sharing together. And I couldn't be more grateful for the way in which LifeWave has stretched me, the way in which LifeWave has shown me so many valuable life lessons, and the way in which life has changed my life in every way, physically, financially, emotionally, and spiritually. So deepest gratitude to all of you for the opportunity to share a little bit about my journey tonight. And I look so forward to all that lies ahead for our teams. Thank you, Chris.
All I can say is wow, wow, wow. Oh my word. Sandy,
Amazing.
you are just absolutely amazing. The growth, I think where you were 13 months ago, or 14 months ago now, and how you have just grown so much as a human being, and the way you've embraced everything, and the way you've embraced obviously the product, the company, and embracing an industry that you've never been involved in before. Yeah, I'll never forget when we were doing that presentation and you're asking, how does the product, how do you get it out into the market? And I said to you, do network marketing. And you said, network what? I was like, oh, come on. No, come on, Sandy, you're kidding me. I said, network marketing. She goes, Sandy said, I've never heard of it. I've never heard of that industry before. I was like, oh, my head. So that was just
A real
abs-
rookie.
absolutely phenomenal. And you know what I love about that specifically, Sandy, is that people think you need to been in the industry before. No, not at all. This is all about what is your why and doing the work. And you just said, first, what's the next step? You know, because it's like if you don't know what that next step is, it's sort of like you're shooting in the dark and you don't know. It's the beginning with the end in mind. We connected with speaking about the 7 habits of highly effective people right in the beginning. I thought, we're on the same page here. And, beginning with the end in mind, you need to know where it is you're going. And then Sandy would check up, like in the beginning, Sandy would send me a message at least once a week. Chris, I've done this, I've done this. Is this the right direction? Yes. And then next week, Sandy will send me another message. I think I messed up here. I made such a mistake. I said, good, good. I'm glad you made the mistake. Now go fix it. How? Email support. What? Oh my word. So I taught Sandy right from the beginning. And then and then yeah, it's pointing in pointing in the right direction. And then sometimes Sandy would say, I've done this, and that. And then very early in the beginning days, I said, Sandy, what you just did there, is that duplicatable? And Sandy would go, hang on a second. And I said very early on, Sandy, if it doesn't duplicate, don't do it. And then all it is just a shifting 1 or 2 degrees. That's all it is. And Sandy has the ability to do that because she knows how to adapt to change very quickly. And what you've done in this short time is absolutely phenomenal. And we are so beyond proud of you. You have no idea.
For sure.
And guys, would you guys think that Sandy would be nervous before getting onto a Zoom or a presentation? Never.
Even
Never.
tonight. even tonight. And I think that's what people need to know, is that, I am so nervous, and it always calms me down just to say, go from the heart, be authentic. Because if you can be authentic in front of your audience, you're being yourself, you're being honest, and you're being true, and you're also being vulnerable. And I think more than anything, people are able to relate to that better than somebody who goes out there and does everything, does it perfectly, and doesn't make any mistakes. It is I think it's so important for us to be able to connect with the people in the audience. So that always calms me down. The more nervous I am, the more I come back down to say, this is just a gift of love to this audience. I'm not looking to convince them of anything. I'm just wanting to share what I know to be true, and I hope that it can be helpful for them, and I hope that it will be something that they need to hear today. And that's it. And then we let it go. We're not in charge of how anybody responds to a presentation. We're not in charge of anybody else's response. That's also so important, because a lot of team members get quite upset when when there's a rejection or there's a no. I don't worry about that at all, because I'm not taking it personally. I'm simply saying, I'm almost saying, I'm just so sorry that it's a no, because I know what it could do for them, but it'll come in the right time. I'm so sorry it's a no for now, but when you're ready, I'm here.
Love it. Oh,
Sandy,
that's a good one.
that is amazing. Oh my word. If a person says no, so sorry. So sorry.
I'm sorry for them, because they're missing something extraordinary, right?
Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Wow. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, guys, for the amazing opportunity to just chat. It's so lovely to have the chance just to share the journey. I've taken so much away from the wonderful shared journeys of Mill, Westcott, and Sandy Feast, and you guys on your incredible journey. And I think as everyone shares their story and shares their journey, we take so much from each other, because we realize that we're all very much together. We all have heart and soul invested in this amazing journey together, and it's a privilege to be able to share and to talk in a forum like this, where we can actually share our vulnerabilities and say, wow, sometimes it's very hard when someone says no, and other times, we feel better when we're given a no, because we know we're not the only ones. Everybody gets that. Everybody gets it. So
Completely. Oh, we can't wait to see you soon. We're going to be, in about 3 weeks, I think it is.
Yes.
Mind about that. We'll see you in KZN. And
looking
then
so forward to that. We can't wait
cannot
to see
wait.
you guys.
Cannot
Absolutely.
wait. And then, guys, Sandy will be a speaker at the convention in Johannesburg
Yep.
on the 7th of June. On the 7th of June. Sandy doesn't know it yet, but now she does.
Tickets are online. They're flying out quickly, so reserve your seat.
Thank you. We can't wait for that. It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be a good one.
Completely. And come and meet Sandy in person. We've got an amazing lineup in June. So yeah, Sandy doesn't know a topic yet. I'm busy working on it. But whatever topic,
me. We'll try and pull it out of the hat. But we look so forward to this convention, because it's the only one this year. So it's going to be super, super exciting. I mean, it's incredible, Lucinda, what you guys are doing all around the country on this road trip and doing mini conventions as you go along. But we really look forward to that big one all together in June. So I think it's going to be very, very special, and always a wonderful opportunity for us all to learn in the same room, to be inspired, to come together, and I so look forward to it. So counting the sleeps until then.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
Chris.
Sandy, thank you.
Sandy.
Thank you so much.
I so appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity, and look so forward to the journey ahead, everyone. I'm definitely sending lots of love. I don't know how you make those hearts go, but I just want to send lots of love to all of you. And thank you. Yes, there you go. Thank you for every joy along this journey. It's been absolutely remarkable. Lots of love.
Thank you, Sandy. Sending lots of love. Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Bye. Bye.